like the physical presence of um, like walking around on the street and understanding a language that my ancestors would have been speaking, and even just catching glimpses of things. And I'm not fluent in this language, but it's a constant reminder when I hear Cantonese and Chinese that um, what it might have felt like to be one of my ancestors, or what my ancestors would have sounded like. And these glimpses of words sometimes remind me of those things. I'm also thinking about um, the things that my ancestors would have seen, and seen the same things, and maybe seeing how they've changed, but also seeing the ways that they're the same. And maybe we're looking at the same ocean, or we're looking at the same plants, or we're using the same herbs. Um, and that's another way my ancestors show up for me. And I also think in like the relationships that I choose to build, I'm like subconsciously, or maybe chosenly seeking friends who also feel like they have their ancestor spirits with them, or friends who carry the same ancestors, twice removed, 3 times removed, whatever. Um, Deepening my relationships with my family, and mhm.
So the print I'm talking about today is my, oh wait, that's not the question. That's the question. It's my Stop the Sweets print, which is, there's 2 iterations of it over there. The Tenderloin one is above, and the Chinatown version is below. And the way I got to this is because I started looking into my own ancestry. And if you know me, I'm like very diasporic Chinese. I'm 5th generation on my mom's side, and 3rd generation on my dad's side. And my dad's side has lived in San Francisco since they immigrated. And so I feel a lot of heritage here in San Francisco, and a lot of connection here. I grew up here, and I live here now. And so yeah, I was thinking about what my community looks like here, and trying to tie together where my values currently stand as like an organizer, and as a person who connects into my ancestry and sees the treatment of how my ancestors were treated. And although they're no longer treated in that way, I see other groups being treated with the same regulations, criminalization, etc., that push and marginalize these folks. So that's kind of where that print stemmed from. And it's the reason why it's like streets and then the people is because the streets is the method of public space that the state uses to criminalize folks on. And this got brought up to me because I was working in the Tenderloin at the time, and I was just seeing sweeps and the treatment of unhoused people, being really brutalized for just sitting, sleeping, taking a break, eating a snack on the side of the road, in a way that, like, if I was sitting on the side of the road, nobody would say anything to me. And so, yeah, the treatment of like current iterations of what is shamed and isolated from our current society, what is criminalized, what is deported, and the modern day expansions of how the state uses these measures of like what can happen in public and private property to control our population and to withhold power for themselves. And the people I chose to depict on that print is on the bottom left on the Tenderloin side is a friend of mine that I made when I was working in the Tenderloin, named Tina Louise, and they are an 81-year-old former drag queen, and I put them next to Margaret St. James to represent sex workers, who were another population that was historically criminalized in this way. And I also put a Chinese person that was deported in 1912 from Angel Island, as well as an unhoused person that I became friends with on the street. And so there's 2 iterations of that, and
wow.
It was hard for me to conceptualize like this big thought that I was having in my brain of what I was seeing in my community, what I was knowing was happening in the history of a place that I loved, And yeah, I'll stop there.
Yeah.